because we have Hurricane Milton coming our way. I just got off the air, and I wanted to talk about this last liberal that called me towards the end of the show, which was a spectacular call. And it was a caller from Florida here in not just this part of Florida where I'm at on the East Coast where it's raining like crazy, but he's calling from Sarasota, Florida, which is very close, if not the place that Hurricane Milton is expected to strike, okay? And he's a hardcore Democrat, anti-Trump guy. And I asked him a simple question, a very simple question. After the hurricane hits, who would you want to come to town in the aftermath of the hurricane? Trump or Kamala? And he wouldn't answer that question to save his life. And the reason he wouldn't answer the question is because he knows what he's... I mean, it's a hardcore Democrat, calls me all the time on the show. He knows that he would want Trump to come and help him, because we've seen what Trump did in North Carolina. He doesn't hold any office. He brought gas. He gave $25 million of his own money. Communications were shut down because of the internet being out. And he called Elon Musk and got the Starlink internet access to North Carolina, to as many of the hit areas as they possibly could. And what's Kamala done? Nothing. Nothing. And, you know, this storm that hit North Carolina, and now we've got this other one that's coming here to Florida that's going to be a bad one. These hurricanes, the way I would describe them, they're Kamala's Benghazi is what they are. Kamala's Benghazi. And, you know, the thing about Benghazi, it is really raining hard, guys. It is pouring down rain here. I'm not even in the cone of the hurricane now with the latest track, and hopefully it stays that way. Hurricanes are not fun. I don't want to get a hurricane. But even though I'm not in the track, it is raining like cats and dogs. In fact, I'm taking the very long way home because I don't want to drive on I-95 or the Turnpike in this heavy rain right now. So I'm taking like ways I would not normally take. Hold on. You know, Benghazi was, in Hillary Clinton's entire time in public life, Benghazi was the only time that she had to be in charge of anything during a crisis, other than a sex scandal with her husband, that kind of crisis. And she choked. She failed. And here you have Kamala, natural disasters going on around America, and she doesn't do any help. Now, you know, there's a lot of debate. Can you guys hear the rain coming down? Oh my goodness. There's a lot of debate with Kamala in the aftermath of the hurricane. Is she not helping these people because they're, you know, MAGA people? Or is it an ego thing that Kamala won't help because Trump has already helped and she doesn't want to be second to Trump? No, I'm not saying that those aren't playing any factor. But the main factor with Kamala has zero accomplishments in her life. Okay? Zero. Less than zero, right? Even if Kamala wanted to help, she wouldn't know what to do. Right? She would not know what to do. And, you know, the caller, he said, well, she's just vice president. Trump doesn't hold any office right now. And look at all the help that he brought to North Carolina. And Florida, this hurricane coming to Florida is a bad one. Welcome. If you're new to my channel, make sure you subscribe. The lesser of two evils. No. You know, when people say, well, I'm going to vote for the lesser of two evils, I don't vote for people that I think are evil. And Donald Trump, whatever evil is, he's the opposite of that. He's amazing. And, you know, we've seen the way he's reacted to trouble because, you know, he's been out in the real world of business, and there's all kinds of crises that come up when you're a businessman like he is, and he has to overcome them or you're out of business. Kamala has coasted by with all these government jobs without any accomplishments. And I threw out on the show today, didn't get a single taker on this, list one positive accomplishment of Kamala Harris her entire time in public life. DA, Attorney General, United States Senator, or Vice President. Positive accomplishment. And she doesn't have any. Hold on, I'm going over some railroad tracks, so hold on. I'm going to make sure the camera doesn't fall, which is my iPhone that I'm streaming on. Hold on. This is going to take me all day to get home in this weather. But I just had a feeling that I should not take the interstate in weather like this. I just felt like the interstate is not a good idea today. Yeah, MAGA hat keeps your head dry during a storm, that's for sure. And, you know, it goes to, you know, the question of after the hurricane, who would you want to come to your community to help, Kamala or Trump? Everybody knows Trump, including that Democrat I was talking to. And it's not just some cute gotcha question that I'm asking about that. When you are in the aftermath of a disaster, you want competence to come and help you, not incompetence. And Donald Trump had a complete record of, you know, there were some major hurricanes in his first term. There's ones that went through the Caribbean, hit Puerto Rico. And I was down in the Virgin Islands on one of our cruises not long after those hurricanes. They hit, I can't remember where they had all of our destinations we went to on that cruise. I can't remember all that. We went to the Virgin Islands, U.S. Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, and St. Martin. That's where the other one. And I remember I was in the Virgin Islands. This was after the hurricane, and we took a shore excursion to the top of a mountain in the Virgin Islands. It's the highest point in the Virgin Islands, or at least the U.S. Virgin Islands, but I think it's the highest point in all the Virgin Islands. And, you know, we're going up these mountain roads, and the hurricane had hit. I don't remember how long before the trip, but it was a pretty bad hurricane. And I saw power trucks from Florida and Georgia repairing the power lines in the Virgin Islands. They were Florida Power and Light, and there was the Georgia Power Company. I can't remember the name of the Georgia Power. And I was like, wow, that's amazing. You know, Trump is so competent. He, you know, a lot of times here in the United States mainland, when there's a natural disaster, power companies will send people to other states. But they just have to drive there. To get those power trucks to the Virgin Islands, they have to put them on a ship, right? And I was so blown away by that. And Trump did that. And that was a pretty bad hurricane. Kamala can't even help people in North Carolina. Katrina was total incompetence. Yeah, the Democrats. You got Democrats in charge. My stand on Israel is I support Israel. Yes, unapologetically too, yeah. Anybody who's bashing Israel today is just disgusting. I mean, you know, on today of all days, you have to be a real anti-Semite to not support Israel on October 7th. World peace, yeah. When Trump becomes president-elect, things will start to correct themselves immediately. These wars will end. The Russian-Ukraine war, he'll end that. You know, he thinks he can end it while he's still president-elect. He may. Oh, man. The rain's lit up here a little bit, but the roads are so wet. I hate these hurricanes. Luckily, I'm no longer in the hurricane cone for Milton, thankfully. I loaded up on supplies yesterday, got all my supplies yesterday, but I don't buy any hurricane supplies that I wouldn't use anyway. So, you know, a lot of people load up on, like, I've already have batteries and flashlights. I got my generator. My neighbors I knew put their hurricane shutters up too soon. But if you're in another part of Florida that's in the path, you gotta, today's the day. Because what happens, you got to put your hurricane shutters up a couple days early, because the day before you're already getting the winds and the rains, and it's hard to go out there in the wind and put up the shutters. My shutters take For the whole house, about an hour to put up by myself. For the whole house. But no, things will, as soon as Trump is president-elect, will turn around. And the way the polls are looking, we're going to find out, you know, I mean, the way the polls look, we could, on election night, get an East Coast state or two that's blue that goes for Trump. That would be like, if that happens, if we get an East Coast blue state go Trump, or get states like Pennsylvania and Georgia and North Carolina, or Michigan. If we got Michigan's in the, isn't Michigan Central Time Zone? But we get those swing states, that's it. We'll wake up the next day and know. Is this the turn? Yes. If we get those swing states, we've got it, and we'll wake up the next morning, and Trump will be officially declared the president-elect, and then things will start to get very positive very quick in the country. This long nightmare of incompetence and inflation will start to evaporate. I mean, yesterday, I don't go to the grocery store too much. We do most of our grocery shopping on Instacart. And I know a lot of people say, well, Instacart charges a little bit more money, but you still save because you don't buy anything extra. So I don't go to the grocery store inside that often. And I was looking at the prices yesterday. I couldn't believe the prices of things. I just couldn't believe it. Things are so expensive. You know, people are really struggling in this country. And what's Kamala offering that would take any of the suffering away? Absolutely nothing. I might pop into a zone that has a poor connection. If I do, don't worry, I'll keep the feed going. I'll be back. You'll just have to refresh in a few minutes. If you're new to my channel, my name's Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. And if you're new, subscribe. You'll love my channel, I promise you. But, you know, Trump's Butler rally over the weekend, that was one of the most inspiring moments. Did you guys see, before President Trump came out, Eric Trump came out with Laura Trump. And I haven't seen Eric Trump on stage in a while. Laura Trump's at everything because she's running the RNC now. But that I could tell that Eric Trump was very emotional, wasn't he? I was emotional. I was tearing up. I mean, you know, when President Trump came out, it was just absolutely amazing when President Trump came out in Butler. You know the guts it takes? I mean, you get shot out in the open on a stage, and you get on that same stage in the same spot just a couple of months later, out in the open. You got to be especially brave to get up and do that and look tough like he did. And at the end, when the Italian opera singer came out and he stayed out there with the singer, you know, he didn't have to do that. He did it, you know, and he stood out there in the open like he didn't have a worry in the world. He did that as a favor to the singer. He loves that singer. And he didn't want people to leave during the performance, so he stayed out there so people would stay. Because he knew if he left, people would start leaving. I mean, that's just amazing that he did. He didn't have to do that. Think Kamala would have done that? When I'm at a red light, I'll take a look at the chat, guys. I can't read the chat while I'm driving, especially in this weather. Oh, it's not raining too hard here now, which is nice. But the roads are really wet. I mean, think about it. If I got shot there, I don't know if I could just go out there in the open like that. And Elon Musk was it's just impressive. And for all these people that think that MAGA hates immigrants, the First Lady, Melania, is an immigrant. Elon Musk, look at how the crowd went nuts for Elon Musk. He's an immigrant too, from South Africa. It's not immigrants. We love immigrants. It's the illegals. You just can't decide to come here. Elon Musk and Melania aren't illegal. Right? Mm-hmm. Why is Trump better for Kamala for president? Oh, Torrin asks a great question. Well, many reasons. One, just talking domestically, the biggest problem there's the two biggest problems in America right now. One is out of control inflation. And inflation is caused by two things in our economy. One is too much government spending, all this crap they're spending on Ukraine. He's going to cut the government spending down right away. And the second cause of inflation is the high price of oil that has been caused by Kamala and Biden slowing down oil drilling, like Anwar, the pipeline. So it'll be drill, baby, drill, ending the government spending in these endless wars. He's going to bring inflation down. This time next year, things will be very affordable, even sooner. That's one reason that Trump is better than Kamala. And the second biggest problem we have in this country is America is under attack. We are being invaded through our southern border. He's going to shut down the border and start the largest deportation program of illegals in a country probably ever in the history of the planet. And that's going to have a great impact. It'll help reduce crime, that's one. But one of the things that's gotten way out of control and expensive is car insurance. How many of you have had your insurance company raise your auto insurance? I've had the same company for my auto insurance since I started driving in high school. When I got my first car, I was 17, and my insurance is through the roof. One of the reasons that insurance prices, well, there's two reasons that auto insurance is so high. One is inflation, and it costs more to repair vehicles, so the insurance companies have had to raise their rates for that. But one of the reasons it's pretty big and not often talked about is there's so many illegals on the road that are uninsured. So they're causing accidents, and they have no insurance. So that's causing insurance rates to go up. You get rid of the illegals, auto insurance prices will go down. I mean, those are two major reasons domestically. He's going to make permanent the Trump tax cuts, which we're benefiting from right now. We still have those Trump tax cuts, which is awesome. This is Torrin asked, why is Trump better than Kamala, he asked, so I'm answering that. No taxes on tips, which is huge. Tip workers, which include more than just waiters, waitresses, and bartenders. Uber drivers, Lyft drivers, Uber Eats, Instacart, all these groups of people are part of the tip economy. They got to pay taxes on those tips, and when there's tax cuts, what the government does is they change the tax brackets, and those are income tax brackets. Most people that are part of the tip economy, they don't get a tax break because they don't pay income taxes. They pay payroll taxes. Payroll taxes are those deductions that you get out of your paycheck every week. Those are payroll taxes, Social Security, Medicare, but they don't pay income taxes. So when Trump no taxes on tips, tip workers, most of them for the very first time are going to get a major tax break. And that amount of money for a lot of people that are tip workers is life-changing money. No tax on overtime. People that work overtime hours, they're paying more in taxes because they're making more on that overtime. No taxes on overtime. That's huge. No taxes on Social Security. A lot of people that are on Social Security and retired are paying taxes on their Social Security, which is a crime, because the government takes that money from you your whole work life to do with what they want, and then they want to tax you on it after they've been using the money your whole time. So no taxes on Social Security. All these things are going to be not just major tax breaks, but help get the economy booming again. So for the Torin, whatever your name, I missed the name. I think it was Torin. Why is Trump better than Kamala? Those are just some of the reasons. And those are all very good reasons that show why Trump is better than Kamala. No doubt about it. I'm coming up to a red light. I'll take a look at the chat. I'm taking this back way home, which will take me forever because I don't want to drive. Oh, no, the light turned green. I don't want to drive on the on I-95 or the Florida Turnpike where it's pouring down rain right now. That's just asking for trouble. So I'm taking the back roads. It takes twice as long to get home. I mean, and you know, like I was talking about with Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris, through her entire time in her public life, has not accomplished anything to help people. Nothing. Nothing. She's made things better if you're a South American illegal or a Venezuelan prison gang member that's made your way to the United States. But for Americans, she's done nothing to make anyone's life better. And don't believe her BS about prosecuting all these cases. I've been talking about it for months. We haven't seen one photograph or video of her in a courtroom prosecuting a case in front of a jury. Not one. Yep, facts. That's exactly right. If you're new to my channel, make sure you subscribe, guys. I'm so glad I'm out of the cone of Hurricane Milton, but I was, my daughter was flying to Orlando this weekend from California. I was going to spend the weekend with my daughter and a friend of hers at Halloween Horror Nights at Universal Orlando, and we had to cancel the trip because that area is going to get hit by the hurricane pretty hard. Unfortunately. I was really looking forward to that trip. I planned that trip like weeks ago with my daughter. We kind of have a tradition, my daughter and I, of going to Halloween Horror Nights at Universal Studios. We love it. So I told her to keep the airline tickets and pick a destination on the West Coast. Take those tickets and fly somewhere she hasn't been out west. So we'll see if she does, where she decides to go. But I haven't seen her in a while, and I was looking forward to seeing her. I'm not a childless cat parent like Kamala. I can't believe I could see some sun. Wow, I wasn't expecting to see any sun in Florida today. Okay, coming up to a red light. I'll take a quick look at the chat, guys, at the red light here. Yeah, Kamala. I just did it. Kamala Harris, that's her name, correct. FEMA's disgusting. And, well, the people running it certainly are. Yeah, $750 disaster relief. You know, yesterday, I mean, $750, how little that goes. You know? How far does that $750 get you? Not very far. In this economy, you could go to Walmart, spend $750, and not even use a cart, right? Easily. But definitely pray for those that are going to get hit by the hurricane. This one could be a very bad one hitting the west coast of Florida. But it stopped raining where I'm at. The roads are wet and the sun's out a little bit. It's pretty cloudy. Well, I've seen FEMA come to Florida years past in this area when we've had bad hurricanes. And usually what they do is they do all kinds of things. Sometimes people will have their house destroyed, and they'll put a trailer in its spot, like a FEMA trailer, for people to have a home during the recovery if the home's been destroyed. I've seen FEMA set up like places where you can drive and get food and supplies and things like that, on top of getting money to get you through, because people, they're missing work. They don't have the income coming in. The business is shut down. We had a hurricane about 20 years ago, and the radio station was off the air for 2 weeks. I was on then because the electricity was out, and there was no electricity to the transmitter. It was destroyed with the hurricane. And these poor people in North Carolina. See, in Florida, we do a little bit better because hurricanes are part of Florida life. So most people in Florida know how to prepare and are prepared for a hurricane. But in some of these other states like North Carolina, they do get hurricanes, but they're not as prepared. And plus, in Florida, until you get up in the northern part, we're flat. So we don't, the waters come, but we're not all hills and valleys like in North Carolina, so the waters go away. Like I did my, other than put up my shutters, I got gas for my generator, got supplies and all of that yesterday. And if I was still in the cone, I would have probably gone home right now and put my shutters up. But since I'm out of the cone, and the supplies I have are things that I would use anyway, so I just won't have to buy gas for a few weeks. I don't know anything. Are you kidding me? I've been through so many hurricanes. Yesterday, I took my 5-gallon gas containers to the gas station. I filled up 4 of them. So it was 20 gallons in gas for the generator. And I could tell there was nobody else filling up the gas cans, and I could see people looking at me, and they're thinking, oh, man, I better go home and get mine. This is the second accident I've passed in less than a mile because of the wet roads. Democrats in general are incompetent. I mean, somebody mentioned Katrina. A lot of people talking about Katrina. These hurricanes are Kamala's Benghazi, but they're also Kamala's Katrina. And, what happened in New Orleans after Katrina was in the incompetence of the government. The Democrats, to them, government money is just something to use to enrich themselves and their friends and their donors. So they're just incompetent. And in Katrina, they didn't evacuate people from the evacuation zones prior to the storm. A Category 5 that's bad. In times of disaster, you always want a Republican in charge, not a Democrat. Like, for example, if 9/11 would have happened and Al Gore won in 2000, how do you think Al Gore would have handled 9/11 compared to Bush? Bush has his problems, and he lied about WMDs and all that. But in the days and weeks after 9/11, he kept us safe. Al Gore, it would have been awful. Hydroplaning is a very real thing. I know, I've been driving slow. I've been driving very slow. Again, if you're new to my channel, make sure you subscribe. Democrats are only concerned about their bank balances. That's exactly right. You speak from feelings, and everything I've said, Fred Rico, is factual. Bush was reading children's stories. He was visiting a school reading a children's book when the attacks happened, and it was live on TV because it was live anyway. What was he supposed to do? Run out and cause a panic? Right? A narrow view of the world? I don't think I have a narrow view of the world. But we got to put America first. Money doesn't solve all the BS, but it helps. It makes things easier. I mean, people are struggling so much financially now. I went to the gas station yesterday. I spent $150 on gas. I filled up my wife's car on Friday, so we hadn't driven it, or Friday or Saturday, I can't remember. This car was almost full, so I filled this car up, and then I bought the other 20 gallons of gas for the generator, and I spent $150 on gas. And I was thinking to myself, my goodness, I'm lucky to have the $150 to buy on gas. A lot of people don't because of the Kamala Harris wreck of an economy. And if you don't have the money, you don't have the money. You can't prepare properly. I have 2 cars and a generator. Yeah, the generator, I have a car, my wife has a car. And this car, my car, this car is a 2011 that I got in 2010. So I'm driving a 14-year-old car with 148,900 miles on it. So, yeah. And my generator, actually, my mother gave me my generator when my stepfather died. My mother got a different type of generator to power house, and I didn't have a generator. My mother gave me her generator. So there you go. So I've acquired things, but I'm not rich. My mother gave me the generator. I'm driving a 14-year-old car with almost 150,000 miles on it. And my wife has a car too. So, yeah. I mean, I'm 53 years old. I hope I got something. If I don't have anything, I'd be a loser at my age, right? Well, thank you. I take good care of myself. Don't smoke, don't drink, except on our cruises. I do drink on the cruises. I'll own that, but, outside of our cruises once a year, I can't drink. I'm too busy. Yeah, this was definitely the best. Because of this hurricane weather, I just thought to myself, I just had a vibe like I should not take the interstate. Just stay off at 95. But, I have no worries about Trump winning. He's going to win. All the polls are in his favor. I mean, when you have CNN reporting that Donald Trump has a 70% chance of winning the Electoral College, that's unheard of for CNN to make that kind of prediction. It's unheard of. They're so left-wing, That's how bad it is for Kamala Harris. She's just not a serious candidate. If she were a serious candidate, she's going to be on Howard Stern at, 1 o'clock Eastern? Give me a break. Kamala Harris, so far, you do interviews to move the needle. Kamala Harris would have a better chance of moving the needle here, joining me on this live stream on my drive home from my car than she would on Stern. Stern has made himself so irrelevant. So she did the sex podcast, Call Her Daddy, Stern, Stephen Colbert, give me a break, 60 Minutes, hardcore left-wing audiences whose mind are already made up. And I've been talking about this the last few weeks. Trump and his strategy in this campaign, this is his 3rd presidential campaign, and this strategy that he's doing is completely different. He's spending most of his time doing interviews with people that would not even normally interview him, that are not in his camp. Some of these interviews he's done, some of these podcasts he's gone on. And he's doing outreach to people that are not already MAGA people. Kamala is doing symbolic interviews, speaking to the choir, preaching to the choir, so she can say she's been doing interviews. That she did a whole bunch of them. Yeah, Stern, Colbert, 60 Minutes, and the Call Me Daddy, or Call Her Daddy sex podcast. What an embarrassment. But she'll be able to say she did some interviews. Yesterday, it looked like I was going to get that hurricane, and it moved north. I hope it continues to move north. I mean, I feel bad for the people that are going to get it, but I did not want to get that hurricane. I haven't had one in a few years. They are not fun. They are not fun at all. Especially afterwards. Where am I? Okay. Well, I agree with what Trump says. Harris. Nobody knows who that is. It says Kamala. You say Harris, but like who? Who? I mean, for Kemp in Georgia to go out and do a press conference with Trump, who would have ever thought that Trump and Governor Kemp would be together at anything? It's amazing to me. You know, Kemp, he wants to run for president in 4 years, so he knows he needs MAGA and Trump if he's going to be successful. You can't trust that guy. I would not want to vote for Kemp. Unless he screws up, I'll be voting for J.D. Vance in 4 years to be the second MAGA president. Kemp's is responsible for these sufferings as Kamala that people are going through. It was amazing. I hardly got stopped by any lights. It's because I'm driving the speed limit, going slow. You know, if the lights are set up by the speed limit. If my daughter, when she was in school in 5th grade, she did this project timing the stoplights in our neighborhood. So I had to spend like 3 hours one day driving the same area with the lights, and I learned something that if you're going the speed limit, you'll breeze through most of the lights. At least here in Florida. But no, everything is in Trump's favor. You look at the momentum and the trend of the polls, all in Trump's column. Rasmussen, CNN, all predicting Trump. And believe me, CNN, if there was any hope, they would hold out. They wouldn't be telling you 70% chance Trump wins. They just wouldn't. It's hopeless for Kamala. I have a feeling taking this back road with the rainstorms, even though it takes twice as long, I'll get, and on a good day, I will get home faster. Taking the back roads. Now, if you're new, my name's Brian. This channel is where MAGA comes to talk. There's no doubt about that. I am the most pro-Donald Trump guy you will find anywhere. I tell you, this Angel water purifier I have is amazing. I've been drinking so much more water than ever. These Stanley cups, I filled this up at 2 in the morning and it's still ice cold. The ice is melted, but it's ice cold still. You know, see, a lot of people that don't have an idea of what's going on, they don't understand that this is not some normal election. You know? And you hear a lot. I've heard Don Jr. say recently after the, in fact, after the vice presidential debate, Don Jr. was being interviewed by CNN. It was, who's that idiot over there that interviewed? Caitlin Collins. And he says, you don't have to like Trump to vote for Trump. You know he's competent. We're in trouble, and he can help. You got to put your pettiness aside. I don't understand why people dislike Trump. I really don't. He's a very likable guy to me. I really don't. I mean, I'm not trying to be funny. I don't understand why people don't like Trump. What about Trump would make you not like him? Makes no sense to me at all. But for those of you that don't, as bad as things are in this country, why would you want somebody like Kamala Harris, who has zero accomplishments in her entire public life, and is just totally lost? I mean, she was given a speech over the weekend. I don't know if you've seen this, and her teleprompter went out. And she couldn't even vamp. She just repeated the last half of the sentence like 3 or 4 times over and over again. She couldn't even free associate for 30 seconds during the speech when the teleprompter went out. She was in a complete panic. The video's on, if you guys follow me on X, Brian Craig Show on X, you can see it. It's insanity. She's just a bird brain. That's it. She's just a bird brain. Which is exactly what we can't afford right now. The country is in a bad spot. Imagine, you know, with Kamala, it's not just 4 years. You know, Trump only has 4 years left because, you know, 2 terms, that's it. He's term limited out. He only has 1 term left. Kamala could have 2. As bad as things are in the country right now, could you imagine 8 years of Kamala Harris? What would this country be like in 8 years with Kamala Harris after? It'd be a disaster. It's bad enough now. Can you imagine 8 years of this? I couldn't. Communism, Venezuela, there would be a collapse, which is what these leftists want. They want a collapse of the United States. I mean, look at the high cost of housing now. You know, those of you who rent, oh my goodness. How much has your rent gone up in the last 4 years? Right? One of the reasons rent's so high is because the illegals are over here. And the illegals, because the government pays for it, a lot of people that have rental properties like that. Because the government just deposits the rent money in their bank account every month. They don't have to go around and collect rent. Even if they get a little bit less, they'd rather get it just automatically deposited. But, you know, we have 25 million plus illegals that Kamala has brought into the country. Hey, the sun's coming. I got to put my sunglasses on. They take up housing, rental housing. Causes rents to go up. So when Trump starts the deportations, that'll help housing prices become more affordable too. When I see what people pay for rents, I don't know how they do it. You know, I mentioned this a lot. My wife and I, we've lived in the same house for 20 years. You know, so I could not afford to live in my neighborhood. I could not afford to move onto my street today. I couldn't. The people that have been moving into my neighborhood the last year or two are in a whole nother income bracket than I am. I mean, the cars they drive. Man, I couldn't believe some of the cars. They're so expensive. And what apartments cost. You know, my daughter that lives in Los Angeles, it was cheaper for her to get she rents. So it was cheaper for her to rent in California and Los Angeles than it is here in Florida. Because she wasn't sure at the time if she was going to stay here in Florida or go to California. And the housing costs are actually lower in California because so many people have left California. Which shows you when the population decrease drops the rent. So many people moved to Florida, you know, because of the lockdowns and all that stuff. It drove the rental prices up in Florida. So when the deportations start, nationwide rents will drop. Not so good for the landlords, but for the renters it is. There's so many things are going to be better when Trump's back. So many. It doesn't usually take me so long to get home, but I'm just, like I said, I'm taking back roads and I'm driving a little bit slower because of the weather. Oh, a red light, finally. I'll take a look at the chat if it doesn't turn green. Yep, they stopped the completion of the wall. That's right. That's right. Truckers for Trump. Absolutely. Absolutely. I just got a news alert from the Hill. Democrats see Barack Obama as their closer against Trump. Barack Obama is responsible for all this crap. He gave us Biden. Call her daddy. Yeah, I listened to the podcast. I never heard of that podcast before. It's a sex podcast. That's it. It's a sex podcast. Why would she go on a sex podcast? It's beneath the office of vice president and president to do that. She's stupid. That's why. She's stupid. Now, this is not a good day for the MAGA scooter, unless I want to get wet. The radio station's too far to take the MAGA scooter or my Vespa. I wish I could take it every day. My Vespa, the MAGA scooter 2.0, it gets 100 miles a gallon. It's awesome. I am starving. I'm going to get my wife and we're going to go get lunch. This time of day, I'm ready to eat my arm because I can't eat before I go on the air in the mornings. And I don't like breakfast foods too much at restaurants, so I'm going to get some takeout somewhere. I'm so glad that I'm out of the cone of the hurricane. I feel bad for the people that aren't, though. Ugh. This one's a bad one. It's a strong storm. It's not going to be as big as Helene, but it's still a pretty powerful storm. I mean, you know, what Donald Trump did with the economy was amazing in his first term. I mean, think about it. You know, as bad as the economy is now, remember, Trump handed Kamala Harris and Biden a perfect economy. Perfect economy, and they wrecked it. He kept the economy going and booming when the world was shut down for a year. The economy of the world was shut down for a year, and Donald Trump was still able to keep the economy together and going. That's amazing. It's a miracle. It's because he is, you know, he's an economist. These politicians always talk about economists. They're talking about college professors. Trump's like the real deal. He's a real deal economist, right? Absolutely. Oh, Tampa Bay is densely populated. It's a bad. That is. I mean, I may be wrong about this, but out of every place in Florida, Tampa is probably the worst place to be during a hurricane. That Tampa Bay area, it's probably the worst place to be. No place is good, but Tampa is one of the worst to be during a hurricane. It's bad. Bad, bad, bad. I feel bad for those people. You know, and a caller that called me this morning, she lives in Tampa and she's going to Lakeland. Lakeland's inland, but I don't think it's far enough inland. It's not that far away. It's better than being in Tampa, but it's not really, she's still going to get hit. Traffic sucks in Tampa. I haven't driven through Tampa in a long time. Tampa's about a 5-hour drive from me. And I hate that drive. It's a boring drive. So usually if I go to Tampa, I'll usually fly there. Tampa's about, how long from Disney World? About 45, 50, maybe 45 minutes to an hour? West of Disney World? No, Lakeland's no good. I didn't want to tell her that when she called me, but I didn't want to make her feel bad. She's staying in a hotel, but it's not far enough away. I mean, it's better than being in Tampa, but it's still not. If it hits Tampa, she's going to get it hard in Lakeland. You know, when we had disasters like hurricanes with Trump, what Trump would do is he would call up the governors and say, what do you need? And give them whatever they said they need. Hurricane. They're not getting anything they're asking for. In fact, I remember last week, a reporter asked Biden if he was going to give anything else to North Carolina. He says no. We had a meeting before. We decided what they were getting, and that's it. Really? No. What does he mean, no? You ever hear him say no to Zelensky, Biden? No, nothing else for you, Zelensky. That's all you're getting? No, of course not. It's probably harder for these corrupt politicians to get FEMA money. It's easier for them to get the foreign help, get their cuts that way. But no doubt about it, even that Democrat I was talking to, after a hurricane hits, you want Trump to come to town, before Kamala. Kamala won't do anything. She doesn't know what to do. My only thing I wonder about Kamala is she so stupid that she thinks she's an accomplished person, or does she realize that she's accomplished nothing in her professional career? It's hard to say. So I go back and forth on that one. What do you guys think? Does she know she's accomplished nothing and is incompetent, or does she think she's a competent person? I think she's scared of the presidency. She gets the briefings. I'd be terrified if I were Kamala. But, you know, she's full of herself. She believes her own hype. Now, those of you that are new to my channel, make sure you subscribe, okay? And if you're already subbed, do me the favor of liking the video if you don't mind. I've about reached my destination. I have to make a stop before I go home. So when I get to my destination here, I'm going to sign off. So make sure you're subscribed and like the video, guys. I uploaded a new podcast last night with my wife, which is on my YouTube channel here. It's the one where only 47 people showed up to the Kamala rally in Michigan. It's a good podcast. You should listen to that episode. We break down a lot of good stuff. 47 people showed up to see Kamala in Flint, Michigan. That's insane. And what a great number, because Trump's going to be the 47th president. An exciting number, isn't it? All right, guys, I got to run. Thanks for watching. I'll see you later.